You're live.
Who's the president of finance?
It's me.
He says begrudgingly.
Oh, yeah. Yay. All right. Thanks for reminding me. I'll call this meeting to order for the Board of Finance for the year ending 2025.
And then we have an end of the year finance summary that Mr. Williams has put together. We have time. Do you want to read it or just highlight it or?
Well, I don't want to read the whole thing. I think they can read that, but I will highlight it. In the first paragraph, it just really is telling you where we were as far as our education fund. There was about $1.5 million deficit this year. And skipping forward just a little bit, the operations, we actually have a positive balance of 446, so that was a growth. So between the two, we lost about $1.27 million in our fund total, which is actually lower than what the projections were 6 months ago. So that's a positive thing, even though it's a negative. And the other two funds really, with the debt service fund, there was really not much change in it. And it's just, it's going to go up and down just a little bit every year, depending on the taxes and things of that nature, and what our payments each twice a year are. The rainy day was a little different this year. We took about $200,000 out of it to put into operations, but we also got $136,000 approximately back from our insurance claim from the fraud that happened, I think was just about a year and a half ago. And the bottom paragraph just really is telling you that while we do have a positive balance in the bank, there is some concerning trends that we really need to take a look at. And so that's pretty much what the narrative says on as far as our funds go.
Does the board have any questions or comments on the summary?
No.
We'll move on to investment report.
On the investment report.
And the investment report's just basically representing the amount of interest we earned at the bank. I think last year at the end of the year, the interest rate was between somewhere in the low 4s to 5%. You'll notice that it is currently, this last month, it was 3.62%. And it's been as high as 4.23 this year. So, and I averaged them all and it ends up about 4%. So we're, while our balances are down, our interest rate is down as well. So there's two things really hurting us. And you'll notice that there was a significant drop in our interest earned this last year compared to 24. However, our average interest over the last 5 years actually grew because we were not getting very much interest in 2020 and 2021.
Are you happy with First Farmers that they're competitive?
Yeah, I think so. I was surprised that not just me, but I think Reedy working with the Geo bond was surprised that they were the best deal as far as the bond sale went. I know that another local school corporation actually moved to First Farmers for the same reason that we did a few years ago. And their customer service is fantastic. Their online banking is very easy to work with. And the ladies at the local bank that I go into deposit with are unbelievably helpful. And I can't say anything negative about them at this point just because they've been very, very helpful.
All right, does anybody have anything else on the investment report? Any questions? All right, then we'll move on to the fiscal and qualitative indicators.
So what I've done is I went through and I didn't want to bore you with every line of expenditure and revenue that came in. I just wanted to kind of give you some basics and show you where some of our biggest concerns are as far as how much money we're spending in different areas. And so what I did was I broke down things. At the very top, you'll notice that it says summary of funds, but I've given you the state approved budget for the last 3 years. This is what the state says that we can spend. And if you'll go all the way to the third column on FY26, especially looking at the operations budget, you'll notice that there's a significant difference in what the state said we could spend and what we could spend last year. I don't know. I can't tell you the exact reason why it's so significantly different. The only positive is if you go down towards the bottom, we only spent 3.8 million this year. So we were under that 4.7 by a whole lot. And it's a good thing we didn't spend that. It would not be a good situation at all. So I'm not sure how they came up with those numbers, because it actually increased last year. And so that was a concern, certainly, when you consider we spent 3.8 million this year and they're only saying we can spend 3.1. That's going to be kind of hard to do. So we are going to try to, because I've got a positive balance in the operations fund, I am going to try to do a resolution to try to get that bumped up a little bit so that we are not really scratching to try to find ways to get where we need to on that. So that will probably come next month.
And I don't know if you saw this or not. I just received an email from the county today, and I forwarded it to you, and maybe you've seen this, but it's
Yeah, I have.
I thought it was interesting, and I hadn't had a chance to talk to you, but it said that they had a note that said that our budget has been decreased. Projected revenues are insufficient to fund the adopted budget. So is that projected revenues? Is that from the taxes? Is that what or were they?
Well, it would be payroll tax. It would be not payroll. So
the
property taxes.
Yeah.
It would be property taxes and any other income streams that would come into the operation side, which there's just not. So we put all of our interest there, which every school corporation does.
Yeah. So did something change on their end toward last year they did the 3.8. Now this year they're saying, oh, not sufficient.
Yeah, that's the
what you're
part I
looking
understand.
at.
When I was working with Mr. Ward, we were at 3.4 when he was working, and he knew we were that there was something going on. But I can't, because I don't have all the information from last year. I can't figure out why the big difference and what caused that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're wrong necessarily. Certainly, I think having a $4.7 million budget last year probably was not a good idea as far as, hey, that's what we're going to actually spend.
Yeah.
Because you can see what that would do if we actually spent all that.
Yeah.
It would not be good. There is some bit of combination of transfer into that counts as part of that when they're doing their calculations. So
That's what we received from the county today.
yeah, I was going to do that.
Board. Yeah.
Because the certified levy is actually what we're supposed to get if they didn't take the circuit breaker out. But at any rate, I wanted you to just be able to see kind of some of the numbers, and the ones that stick out the most are when you look at the education expenditures, the wages for our classified staff is up about 38% over last year. So when you go down through here, you can see a lot of different percentages. But benefits, I mean, obviously, if our wages are up, our benefits are going to be up too. And so we not only get hit with the additional wages, but payroll taxes and insurance and many other things that go along with that. You'll notice also that medical insurance is about 10.6% higher than it was last year. Now is both in operations and education, and that's due to an increase in our medical insurance, but also we probably had some people come on that weren't on before, so we have additional costs there as well. I would suggest to you that we haven't even felt the whole increase yet, because the increase on our medical insurance didn't start until October. So we only had 3 or 4 months of the 4.5% increase in this at the end of 2025. Some of the things down in the operations budget are big percentages: 29%, 42% for refuse removal and our supplies. But if you look right next to it, it's not very much money. So we can work on cutting those and trying to find ways to cut in those things, but they're not really going to have the type of effect that we'd hope to get us where we need to as far as the financial bottom line. I did find it interesting that our water and sewage was actually down for the year, which was kind of cool.
I wonder if that, in all seriousness, has to do with the renovations we've done with the sewer lines and the restrooms and the new toilets.
Very well could.
More energy efficient.
Yeah.
And heating and cooling was basically no change on the operations ends of things. There are many categories that I didn't give you. I was just trying to give you some of the highlights so you could see where some of the money is going. Most of it is going out in wages. I mean, there's no way around that. And also, well, we've had about a half a year with a new pay increase on the teacher side of things. The classified staff, most of it just started. So we haven't felt that increase. We have felt some of the increase for teacher pay. So that'll also have an additional impact to the overall funds. One of the things I gave you guys a couple of pretty copies from policy analytics. And if you'll turn it on the back, you'll see these 2 line graphs at the very top. And one of the things I want to point out, because of some positive things with money that we receive from Hines, the billing that we do for Hines every year to all the schools, that, from what I've been able to see, is up. And it's had a pretty significant impact as far as the bottom line goes, and it's kind of changed the curve a little bit. And to be honest with you, we still have about $160,000 that hasn't gotten to us yet. We have still 2 schools that still have yet to pay. So this is a very positive thing. And you'll notice if you look at 2026 in December, it was showing us a $1 million balance. 226 after December. This was after November, and this is after December. It's a 1.8 million positive balance. So there was a significant improvement based on getting those monies in. And I think that in my short amount of time here and just looking at it, I think Laura's done a pretty good job of streamlining the billing of Hines, and it's more accurate, and we're getting what we should get. And I think it appears to me that that's the big difference. And as I was telling Bob before, they did change a couple of items from the debt service fund back to on property taxes. So there's about $25,000 more that comes in that way too. So it's not a lot of money, but we'll take it. Policy analytics went through, they do a fantastic job, by the way, of going through and finding things. And the cool part is most of what I put on the sheet that I gave you with my spreadsheet are things that they pointed out. And so it's really nice to have them as a, hey, I'm at least interpreting the information correctly and looking at the right kinds of things. I'm encouraged that we had some improvement and that line's not quite as steep. But as I said at the very beginning, the trends are kind of concerning, and we're going to have to do some work to try to find ways that we can cut and get where we need to get to so that we can continue to provide the quality education without having to worry. And I know the referendum's an important piece of the puzzle if we go there, but it's not the only thing we need to do. We need to do this. We need to find ways that we can cut too.
Any more questions from the board? All right, that was our last one. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see if I can pop this.
Congratulations to Brian and Mike for completing their first Board of Finance.
Well done, survived.
Survived.